What's going on, guys? Just wanted to put out a quick video explaining what I think about some of these SBCs that have been coming out. I'm going to read off a script a little bit. It's going to be kind of like a format, kind of like Twitch, where I'm just spitballing, just kind of talking, but I do have a little bit of a list, a script, if you will. So today, EA released the new Insigne SBC. So here it is right here. Card looks pretty good. It's 339,000 coins right now. 91 pace, 81 shooting, 87 passing, 93 dribbling. You get it. He's also a striker, not a left wing. So what I wanted to talk about was pretty much, first off, I just want to say, this is where I'm reading off the script, obviously. The SBCs are a fun way for FIFA and EA to get players involved, get on the game every day. There are also some negatives to SBCs. I don't want this to come off like, oh, the SBCs are all awful. There are some good ones, and I'll go through, like, that's what all these tabs are, is all the player specific SBCs, and that's really what this is about, is the player specific ones. The ones that are like marquee matchups, they're fine. They are what they are. You get a pack, you're probably not going to get shit if you're like me, but if you're lucky and you get something cool, that's awesome. With the recent release of the Insigne SBC, current cost of about 340k, it sheds light on some of the things that are wrong with SBCs, and generally the majority of players should avoid SBCs like this, meaning you guys that are just average players, or even the below average guys, the guys that aren't spending thousands of dollars on this game, there's no reason to go out and do this SBC the first day. I don't see the prices going way up on 90% of these SBCs. When a really hyped one like Aubameyang's Player of the Month comes out, that's a different story, but with those, there's a loan. So we'll get into that kind of stuff. I'm just going to go over why I think generally these player-specific SBCs kind of suck. So generally, the player-specific SBCs are coin sucks that EA purposely release these throughout the year when there's going to be a promo. So for instance, it's December 12th, Footmiss is coming out relatively soon. They hit us with Cruz 100k, and now they've hit us with Insigne, which is 340k. They're trying to get your guys' coins and untradeable cards out of your club into their pockets, so that you don't have as much to go after some of these cards that they release for Footmiss, and those are only available through SBCs. So you're basically either gonna have to have untradeable cards, a ton of them, a lot of coins, or what they're hoping is that with these SBCs that they're throwing in now, something really good comes out during Footmiss. Let's just say they give a position swap Bale and he goes on the left wing, and now you can play Bale with just Marcelo. You don't have to have a bunch of icons or a bunch of different bullshit going on with bad players that aren't super meta to get Bale into your team. That's just an example. I know there's ways to work Bale into your team, but let's say that were to happen and that card's 900k, a million coins, it'd probably be more, but let's just say it's a ton of coins, and you gave up 400k worth of coins and untradeable players for Insigne. It's kind of like, why? So we're gonna go over why it's not the greatest to do cards like Insigne, but that's just an example. Now you may be saying, well, it's free or near free if I use almost all untradeable cards, and that's not the case. If Insigne costs you 340k and you use 300k of untradeable cards, like I just said, if Insigne's 340 and a really good card comes out, it's going to be almost double, right? Depending on the requirements. EA has some control over that, but you bet your ass they're going to want more out of the requirements. So if you're wasting 300k on Insigne, which I'll show you why it's a waste again, but let's just call it a waste for now, you're losing out on the opportunity of using those untradables on a really good card. There are some really good SBCs, player specific flashbacks, the live items from Europa League, some of the player of the months that really make sense to do if you're using that kind of team, but not all of them. So treat your untradables more like gift cards, is kind of the gift cards. That's what I've equated it to. They hold their value relatively well and can almost always be used in a better SBC down the line. The only real harm in keeping untradables for a long time is the chance you get duplicate untradables. In that case, you would back out, try to do an SBC of a small, low coin amount to just get a different set of cards. So for instance, you do a player upgrade, or you would do whatever, something small that's always there that you can just flip. Let's say you got duplicate Verdi, right wing, whatever, and you wanted to use that card, not just throw it away and quick sell it for 0 coins. You could do that. That's probably the most cost efficient way to do it. Generally, doing SBCs for a specific player, for example, Insigne, and convincing yourself that the packs help make up the cost of the SBC is the wrong way to think about it. Pack luck is totally random, and although it's fun to do things in this way, it's almost always a loss. There are some league SBCs, however, that can be profitable. So there's some SBCs you can use. FIFA Analytics. This is a little bit off script. You can use FIFA Analytics to kind of figure out which SBCs, active SBCs, kind of make sense. So you can go leagues, blah blah blah, go through here, all this good stuff, and look at all this information. I'll link this down below. Some other people that are really on top of this kind of stuff are Foot Economist and I Am a Duck. Duck and Foot Economist are the two guys I look to when there's an SBC that pops out. Not in terms of meta, because I don't really see them play the actual game too much, but in terms of how it affects the market, what's going to go up in price, what's going to go down in price. If it's a worthwhile card, if there's an alternative already on the market that I'm not thinking about that's extremely similar, they do a really good job of pointing it out, and I'll link both of them down below. Let's see here. League SBCs are pretty good. Marquee matchups are pretty good because they stay on the market a long time, and there's pockets of time during promos that their required cards go so cheap that the packs that you get from them, especially during promos where you can pack a really good card, it makes it worth it. 99% of these SBCs are not endgame cards, so this goes back into the whole thing of why player SBCs generally suck. That Insigne card that just came out is not an endgame card. You're gonna have Insigne. Who could he get passed by? Let's say Icardi or Immobile, or I mean Mertens on his own team. If you're using an all Serie A team, if you're using all Italians, it could, that dwindles down your selection of strikers. Balotelli, but that dwindles down your selection of strikers that could have really high rated special cards later in the year or very soon, even with foot miss and stuff coming up. It dwindles it down. But especially if you're doing league specific, there's really no reason to jump out a card like this. And I'll show you why when I pull up the SBC. Almost all of the previously released SBCs have players just like them in the same position in their league or nation with incredibly similar stats. These cards are tradable, so if in a week or even 3 months, you can sell them off and recoup some coins. Or more, sometimes they go up. With SBC cards, you can only move them to your bench as a super sub, or submit them into another CoinSync SBC, which is bad. Like, imagine you do this SBC for 440 or 340 for Insigne, whatever the F he is right now, and you 2 months from now have to submit him into an icon SBC, and he's only a 90 rated. Like, you can get a 90 rated for way less by then probably. It just doesn't add up, right? So now we're going to look at some of the past SBCs. I have all the tabs open, and we're going to look for if it was a value at the time, if it's a value now, like if you did it then, are you still happy? So we'll go over that real quick. I'm going to try to go through these fast. Lucas at the very beginning of the year was an extremely good card. Now obviously there's not a ton of good right mids in general. Mbappe is really good, but he's had to have been more at the time and probably still is. Mahrez, though, is the one that comes to mind, where you probably get a much better card then and even now, and people were flying to do this card. Again, you got a ton of packs, but the way you have to think about the packs is think about it as the discard value. Again, go on here and look at what the discard value, which you can see, let's just say for this one, Scottish Prem, it'll tell you in here your discard value is guaranteed to be 20,000 worth, and it tells you like how much everything costs, blah blah blah, so you can go through there. But again, back to the players, still a good card. The only thing I would say is right mid, high pace, pretty good shooting, pretty good passing, and pretty good dribbling. There's a good amount of them. He's not a big player at all. This is not an end game card, obviously. They came out so early in the year, a lot of people use it for a while, but not an end game card. At the time, it was worth it. So that's one for worth it if you're keeping score. Next up, Hazard, absolutely worth it. Only thing is his regular card is already a 91, so it's not a huge jump. I mean, he does get +4 finishing and +3 shot power. Anything else extremely game changing with him? Some more stamina, but that's about it. He's already an insane card as it is. This guy was like 700k, I want to say, for the SBC. It might have been a little bit less at times, but worth it. I mean, worth it. You could justify this if you really love Hazard and you want to have the best Hazard card. The player of the month, I could see it worth it. The nice thing about player of the months too, which I forgot to mention before I started Lucas, player of the months have loan versions you can try. That's extremely important. If you're going to do any of these SBCs, either make sure they have a loan version first, or you can watch a big content creator like Nep or Castro on Twitch, or whoever your favorite Video? Really? We're doing a video. Whoever your favorite YouTuber, Twitch creator is, whatever you want to call it, content creator, watch their review of the card and kind of get an idea for it if there's no loan. Next, that's a pretty obvious one. Aubameyang was a pretty obvious one. I mean, he's not terribly better than his 87. I will say the composure is nice. Agility and balance too is pretty good. His passing's a lot better. Or passing's a lot better. This was more a case of if you were going to definitely have either Mkhitaryan's live SBC done, which I forget which one came out first, but if you like Mkhitaryan because you can link him with Arsenal players, or just go all Prem all year and try to use this card for as long as possible, would be a good super sub, but extremely expensive. Extremely expensive super sub. At the time, striker wise, this was definitely the best striker for Prem. And left wing, I forgot, obviously. Hazard's obviously regular card was really good. There were some other good ones, but when you're going player of the month wise, they're just upgrading a card. So it's not like they're giving them a new position, more than likely. Usually it's same position, same player, they just give them boosted stats. So their previous card was already probably the biggest competition, both in Aubameyang's case and Hazard's case, in terms of best at their position in their league or nation. Definitely for Aubameyang. Next up, we got Juanfran. A lot of people regret doing this card. This is where I'm going to start looking at similar cards. Now, the reason I'm going to start doing this is because you can see, okay, Juanfran, you can't look at just these cards, right? Because if you just say, oh, Cancelo's super similar, well, what about work rates? What about size? You know, obviously Valencia and Juanfran, they look similar, but look at the physicals and defense. You know, this footbin similarity thing is not always the best. Let's just put it that way. But 87, this card wasn't out yet. At the time, this card made a ton of sense to do. A lot of people are still using Ramos at center back, so you could have linked him in with Ramos at center back. The Liga Santander, whatever they're calling it now, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico, whatever their freaking league is called now, they change it every year. BBVA, whatever. The league doesn't have a ton of great attackers. I mean, you have Bale and Messi, but besides that, you're not drooling over, oh my gosh, like Ronaldo's gone, Neymar's gone. You know, you're replacing those kind of guys with not the greatest in-game FIFA players in FIFA. So he still links up though with Ramos, which is really nice. But again, like at the time when this card came out, even like the price of this card compared to other good regular right backs, regular just golds, it was a little high. But this is one that I definitely would say, yeah, it was worth doing in Juanfran's card at the time. When you look at the stats, I mean, he's 5'11", which is pretty good. High medium, which is okay. Good, really good stamina, good strength. His jumping, he would be pretty okay in the air, but his defensive stats are sick. Like 87 defending, but he has no heading accuracy, means on the ground, he's insane. He's insane on the ground. Agility and balance are just okay, but not the most important. This is kind of a weird split in terms of his sprint speed, acceleration, but definitely at the time, good passing, great crossing, good short passing, good vision. At the time, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Next up, Götze. I did this one personally because I had a Bundesliga squad at the time. The only thing I would say about Götze is he's not game-changing. He's not an end-game card for sure. He's a super sub now for me, and if I ever went back to a Bundesliga squad or had any kind of German, like let's say I got player of the month Royce, and later down the line there was another one involved, especially if it went to left wing, left mid, left wing, whatever. It wasn't a central card, then yeah, this card would be super worth it. Easy to link with Royce. 77 stamina sucks. That's one thing you have to watch out for SBC cards. EA purposely give guys, you know, not huge. I mean, what did he get? +2, and his overall went up 4. They knew what they were doing, right? This card plays extremely similar to the regular Royce. It's just everything is better, obviously, but it's not like, oh my god, who is this Messi? Like, it's not completely different. It's a good solid card though, and for the price at the time, I would say pretty fair, especially considering all the hype around Bundesliga at the time with Royce and all that stuff going on. Player of the month. Okay, next up, we're going into the live cards that they've given us as SBCs. Now, I will say, as live cards, every single one of these cards is going to be deemed worth it if you plan on using the league. Because if you notice, you can't link this guy in unless you have a bunch of icons or an all-Serie A team. For the most part, you could do some crazy shit, but I would say for the most part that's the case. Now, he could go up maybe to a 90 almost, but what would his pace be? If they give him a +1 on pace every time, that would be +4. He'd still have 74 pace. If they give him +2 every time, I mean, obviously at that point, 78 pace, this card would be near perfect. Near perfect. Medium high work rate, high medium work rates, high attacking, medium defense, 4-star, 4-star, tall, already extremely strong. Pretty good defender already, especially as a midfielder in interceptions. His agility and balance are really low. So this card's never going to be like Hullet, right? Where Hullet is like Conte's pace, agility going back and forth, but he's huge. It won't be that good, but he could be, he's almost already Hullet gang, you know, all 80s, but he could be, you know, one of the better center mids, definitely for Serie A. So that's something to look into. What else are we going to look at here? Next up, we got, definitely worth it though. This card definitely worth it if you're using, you know, the league. As a super sub, could be worth it eventually if he became a 90. You'd have to become an 89, 90, 80, maybe an 88 would make him worth it, but like similar cards, if you just wanted just to look at just the base card, there's a lot of cards with similar stats to this. I'm thinking of someone in particular, and I don't remember his name. They don't have it here. But let's say Angolan, he's smaller, but I mean, he's extremely similar, and he's going to be more quick. They just gave out this Parolo card in the foot swaps, which I'm not covering because I don't think foot swaps take anything from you, just your time, which most people play FIFA a lot anyways that are going to watch this video. Okay, next. But worth it in general. Marcus Alonso, I mean, left backs in the Prem are pretty goddamn awful, but this card just, unless you really want to justify that you're going all Prem, or you're going to use Hazard, you know, Hazard as his link in, or you want to link, you know, Hazard and Ramos for some reason, like that would have been at the time the reason to do this card, because he's Spanish, obviously he links in with Ramos. Yeah, but this card, I can't say it's worth it. A lot of people do have good things to say. Some people say not worth it. This is the reviews on or comments on Footbin, but I would say not worth it at the time. Even now, you look back, he would have to have all 80s, and even then he has high work rates with 3-star. Not a lot of agility and balance. He's not going to be a super meta card. I would say not worth it at the time or now. Okay, Mkhitaryan, this card I did myself as well, so I've done Götze and him. This card is extremely worth it for me personally. That's why I did it at the time. Basically, the reason I did this card was because he has near, what I look for in an attacker is 85 pace, which he's close. Like, this is literally when new team of the weeks come out, this is what I look at in the team of the weeks. Do they have 85 pace? Really close. Do they have 80 finishing and 80 shot power, or some kind of like high split of that, like high finishing and high shot power, or I'm sorry, high finishing and a little bit lower shot power, like 80 shot power and 85 finishing, or in this case 89 shot power and 79 finishing on a live card. That's extremely encouraging. 86 stamina is good. The only thing is his composure, right? His composure is 77. If he went up to an 89, he probably still wouldn't even have 80 composure, because EA is going to give him +1s probably, because this is so high in general that they are not going to really do much to this. I can't imagine that they would give him on a 1, let's say he got an upgrade to an 87. I can't imagine they give him more than 1 here, if at all. So that's the only disappointing part that I've realized now at this point. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills is perfect. As an attacker in this game, a 5-star weak foot, Neymar. I've used Socrates icon. 5-star weak foot is amazing. It's just amazing. You want a 5-star weak foot on everybody if you could have it. As far as his link-ins, Aubameyang was, you know, is the obvious one, or all Prem. That's the only way, or super sub. But I would say worth it because a lot of people use Prem teams. A lot of people have that Aubameyang, or will have his other special cards throughout the year. So I think he was worth it at the time. Next up, we're going into, this is another player of the month for the Bundesliga. This is not worth it. This card is just not worth it. 65 composure, 5-star skills is great. If you want to have fun, this is great, but I'm not even taking it seriously. The card, in terms of playing, you could get so many better cards. It's a good card, but he's just not worth what the SBC was at the time. And I'm sure people looking back on it are like, what the fuck? What did I do to myself? So that's that card. Okay, flashbacks. Hernandez. Not worth it. 3-star, 3-star in the Prem, or let's just look at similar cards in terms of face. Like, I would 100% take Mertens over him. Mertens is 70k. If you can't use Mertens because you want to use all Prem, I probably would take in the Prem. Is there anybody they have listed as similar in Prem? I mean, Gabriel Jesus, I would almost already 4-star. At least he has 4-star skills. That's close though. I think for sure Hernandez. I mean, obviously by the stats, he's better. But yeah, not worth it for me personally. If you're doing this card, you're either a huge Chicharito fan or a Mexico national fan. But yeah, I don't think it's really too worth it. I know a lot of people have good things to say, but when you're looking down the line, a 3-star is 87 pace, 85 shooting, 70 passing, 85 dribbling, and no physical, and he's small. With 3-star, it's just not for me. At the time, I guess he was fun for like a week, and then I'm sure people were like, damn, I wish I had regular bombing probably, you know, or I don't know what would be a similar price card in the Prem right off my head, but I just don't see it as worth it for this card. Not a ton of links either. I mean, Chucky, you could link in with him, Chucky Lozano, but then it gets tricky from there, so not really worth it for me. Okay, next up, Sturridge. Again, same kind of deal. 4-star skills, but only a 2-star weak foot, and this FIFA is really bad. The nice thing about this card, though, is he does have jumping, strength, and heading accuracy, so he is really good in the air. Let's see the similar cards that they're suggesting. Would I take any of these per se over? I mean, obviously almost all. I mean, obviously he's better than Rebic. King is probably going to give you a similar feel and he's a tradable card. Williams is probably going to give you extremely similar feel. Rodrigo is probably almost, I mean, in terms of feel, almost identical. The thing about these cards is they've got incredible stats. But again, EA know what they're doing. 2-star weak foot. Obviously, he has a 2-star weak foot on his regular card, right? So they pick a card to give a flashback to that isn't going to be game break. If this card had 4-star skills and 4-star weak foot and maybe a little bit more stamina, it would be insane because it has a Ronaldo-esque feel to it. When you're talking about finishing, shot power, positioning is really good. He's physical, 84 strength, 90 jumping, 82 heading accuracy. His dribbling is not terrible besides his balance, but it's the same thing with Ronaldo. It's just, again, a 2-star weak foot is awful. If they gave these stats to Batshuayi, let's just say, I'm butchering his name, the Valencia striker formerly of Dortmund. So I don't get fucking called out for not knowing shit. Valencia, he's there. If they gave this card Sturridge's stats, because they're similar in size, right? 6'1", oh, he's only 5'11". He's a little bit small, but he has really good jumping. But again, 4-star skills, 5-star weak foot. That would be a game-breaking card. That would be Balotelli Scream card all year long. That would be, it would just be a sick card. But again, they gave it to a 2-star weak foot guy, so not worth it at all. Long run, you're gonna have a really good, high-rated English Premier League card to put in SBCs, but it's never a good idea, like, to think that way and say, oh, down the line I can throw it into another coin sync SBC. You want an end game card in an SBC. I've done Zola's prime icon, and I'm still even disappointed because it's like, well, I can throw him into another icon SBC down the line, but is that going to be cost efficient? Probably not. He's a good card now, but Zola, I mean, there'll be special cards in 2 weeks that are better than him, I'm sure, as far as in game. Alexander Pato, pretty good card. Again, a 3-star weak foot sucks. It sucks that none of these cards have 4-star. Once you get to like Division 2, Division 1 on that borderline, and you're trying to get into Elite, like I'm trying to get in. I finished Gold 2 weeks in a row now. You realize the power of a weak foot in every position possible. The only thing I could think of is center backs. It doesn't terribly matter because you're not really building from the back that much, and your fullbacks coming up the pitch, they're either crossing with their strong foot. If you cut inside, like with Marcelo, it's nice, but you don't do it too often usually. Insane stats. If this card again had 4-star, more stamina, they know what they're doing though. EA are giving you a 3-star weak foot card with 76 stamina. That is like obvious to me that they know like we can't give them everything. Because if they give us this card with 4-star, it would be like last year's Jesus. It would just be insane. Like what did they do? They've done a really good job of not breaking cards this year, which in turn has forced people to spend more money or buy coins to get the actual good cards. So not really worth it. Similar cards that you could switch out for him if you are regretting doing him. I mean, Mertens is insane. Mertens is going to come up in a lot of these because he has that rare shooting, pace, pass, dribbling that a lot of these cards have. I mean, if you want to get super similar, a regular Griezmann, right? 86. Griezmann has way better passing. Like putting Ronaldo on here, which is just ridiculous as a similarity. Jesus is there. I mean, that's pretty much the most similar guy, right? Jesus is going to be incredibly similar to this card. 86, 80, 72 passing, 86 dribbling. This card has 89, 87 shooting, which is much better shooting, 89 dribbling, 72 passing, yeah. So it's just not worth it. The SBCs in general, obviously, as you can see, most of them are not worth it. Worth it in terms of like, if this card was on the market, how much would he be? Take out the packs they give you, take out the, oh, it's limited to a week, it's 7 days or 3 days or however long they want to put them out. Fuck all that. It's on the market. Let the market decide what it's worth. It would not be nearly as expensive as the SBC was. Boateng, now this card is sick if you're using a Serie A team, but the one thing that was going to let this card down is stamina as a center mid. It sucks. So he's pretty much either going to get subbed off at the 75th minute on, or subbed on for somebody else that's tired. And the agility and balance kind of suck. But again, they give you a weird funky card that you can only use pretty much in an all icon, not all icon, but in a heavily icon influenced team. You have 2 or 3 icons, or in a Serie A only team, which is fine. There's really good players in the Serie A, but they do give him 75 stamina with 79 agility and 70 balance. The card isn't broken. It's a great card, but 75 stamina, you're not getting an icon. If this is 85 to 90 stamina, and they give you this at like 80, 82, 83, and this at like 70 something, 75-ish, this card is sick. He can't mark with the shit, so he's like better as like a true center mid, not a CDM, but he would be a sick card. High medium work rates are not the best. Again, as a CDM, he'd probably be and last year's 4-1-2-1-2, 4-1-2-1-2, the diamond, he would be insane as a center mid, left center mid, right center mid, whatever you wanted to do, he'd be insane. But they just didn't give you everything again. So if they would have given this card an 88 and given him maybe 70 marking here and given him another boost here to his physicality and given this 80, 85, maybe a little bit more balance and agility, he'd be a sick card. I'm sure people that have done this card love him because he looks sick, but I can't imagine this card being an end game card for most people. We're going to see a lot of cards that have this Hullet gang like thing going on that probably end up with better stamina and marking. So as a CDM, which is the meta this year in a 4-1, in a 4-2-3-1, he probably wouldn't be very good. Next up, Alves. Okay, this card is fucking sick. I regret not doing this card 100%. It was extremely expensive, and I probably couldn't afford the team that I have now, which is right here, by the way, just so you kind of can feel like the players that I like using. But I'm waiting to upgrade this side, so don't kill me for having these 2 knuckleheads here, but they're actually pretty good. I would have loved to have Mbappe and Dani Alves right here, but I didn't do it. The only thing that scared me off was high-low and the price. This was like 300k at the time, and high-low scared me off, but then you see I got Marcelo and I love him, so it would have been fine. This card is like an endgame right back. Like if you like to attack with your right backs, this is for sure a 90 overall with 90 pace. He's not the best at finishing, but he could probably finish most goals. 3-star weak foot's not ideal, but then again, he's a fullback, so can't ask for everything. 4-star skills is great. He's smaller, 5'8", but he does have 90 jumping. That's not terrible. His marking is not the greatest, but what are you gonna? He's a 90 overall. Look at his passing. Look at his shooting. I mean, 88 long shots, 98 shot power is stupid. 89 dribbling already, and 90 pace. You literally could go to chemistry and throw on either backbone to. Oh no, you wouldn't do backbone. You'd probably do Centennial. Leave his dribbling, passing, and pace alone, and shooting alone. You could go Gladiator, and this would probably be the best setup, right? Increase his shooting and his defending, and just leave his physicality alone, because he's never going to feel like Kyle Walker, and just push people off the ball. He's never going to feel like that no matter what chem style you put on him. But do this to him and he'd probably feel ridiculous. This defending just looks stupid. This is a great card. I wish I would have done it. Worth it for sure. End game for sure. He links with Brazilians. He links with Mbappe on the right side. Just a stupid good card. Now there's a central cam. Neymar, if you had like unlimited coins, or you're crazy and you spend thousands of dollars, or you got lucky and packed them, or have something else that you packed that you traded for. Like, this card links with a lot of cards that are really good. So I wish I would have done this card, but I didn't. 100% worth it. And this card, now we're going to the end here. Insigne, it just can't be worth it. It just when you're looking at the card like that, he's super small. He's not gonna be. I haven't seen any reviews on this card, so I have no clue on what other people are saying. But just by looking at the stats, 81 stamina is okay. We asked for 80 stamina in SBC cards. That's what I think is like. Come on, dude. You're gonna really give him like I get his base card only has 75. I get it. But you're really only going to give a 90 overall. Some cards will have a 90 overall and have 65 stamina, 70 stamina. No, 81, that's fine. This is what bothers me. No strength, this might as well be 0. No aggression, this might as well be 0. So you can't really play him at striker. He's not going to have any pressing ability or any real like strength to the ball at all. You have to use him on the ball. Pretty much you're going to bring him back to cam or play him out wide. For 300k untradeable, 340k untradeable, I just don't think it's worth it. No heading accurate. Literally, he's a winger. You have to play him on the outside. And I would probably say you have to play him as a left cam in a 4-2-3-1 or a left winger. His natural position, obviously, he's a left winger. Bad finishing and shot power. I mean, they're okay. I told you, for budget cards, I do look for 85 pace, which he has in 80 and 80 here. So he almost makes it. Composure's okay and reactions are okay. When EA want to rip you off, the SBCs they give you are going to do this. Not great stamina. Not great strength, not great reactions, not great composure, and not great finishing. They're gonna give you this shit. This feels amazing, right? 96, 95, oh my god, 95 ball control, 91 dribbling, 92 pace, like, oh my god, 87 passing. Look at his short passing, his long passing is great for a cam. He could play striker, he could play winger. Look at all these spots. It's they're not gonna give you what you think this card will play like. They're not giving you Messi. They're not giving you Messi with this card. Trust me. I've seen it too many times. I've done SBCs. I've seen reviews, obviously, of people like, what happened with this card? Well, the key stats they're leaving out: reactions, composure, stamina's not great, no strength and aggressiveness, finishing and shot power. I mean, that's literally the only thing that could have been worse about this card is if they gave this, if this wasn't green, this was in the 70s, it wouldn't. It's just not worth it, guys. I think the key stats to look for video is going to come right now after this video, because it's just very apparent that a lot of people can see what key stats are there for certain positions and some people that don't understand. So there's that one. And then last but not least, we're going to look at the Cruz one real quick. Again, oh, I should probably just go here. I know Cruz is like 100k, or he was. So if you did it the first day and you were really excited about it, there you see the problem already. There's 291 Cruzes. Why would you guys pay 100k for this and get some packs that more than likely you're not going to get much out of? Or this card, -2 pace, -1 shooting, like, it's... And you can sell this card, and I'm pretty sure... Yeah, this card is way down. Like, this card is probably even an investment type piece. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure there's people that are thinking like, oh, this card is a 91 overall German. That's gonna be an icon SBC someday for sure, and it's probably gonna cost a lot more than that. Then he's been a let's see, last Saturday, 10 days ago, he was 120k. They released a SBC or something. Something happened. Oh, this card came out. Duh. This card came out. So let's see what the price of the SBC is right now. 101k, and you get 2 packs. You get a rare gold players pack and a prime gold players pack. Jesus Christ, it's just not worth it, guys. When it comes to SBCs, be extremely careful. Follow Foot Economist. This guy is amazing. He shortens exactly all this shit that I just talked about, and he does it as each card comes out extremely quick. Like, you can see this was posted at 1:03 p.m. That's 2 hours ago. This thing didn't come out right then for me, but it came out this morning for me. So within 5 hours, he has this up, and he'll tell you exactly what it cost. Conclusions, strong alternatives. Plus, you could get pretty much what I said: Gomez, Mertens, Pilates Inform, which I don't think is a direct comparison, but it's close. Obviously, his other Insignia's other 89. So I would just be careful about doing SBCs in general. That's the basis of this video. The 2 SBCs that I've done from personal experience. Oh, fuck me. Well, you can see there Mkhitaryan and let's close that down. Mkhitaryan and Götze. They're okay, but really I'm waiting on Mkhitaryan's live card to upgrade, which hopefully it goes up, and I'm hoping that something happens with Bundesliga or Germans at some point in the year where Goats is good enough to still play. Like if it happens now, like let's say another player of the month Royce comes out and I can get him, or you know I get a player pick Royce in form or Lewandowski in form, or like something crazy like a high meta really good card from Bundesliga comes out and I get them either for free or I for whatever reason change my team up to use them, then obviously Goats will come in. But these SBCs generally are bad. I've seen guys, they're posting on Mad HD, Mad HD or Run the Foot Market or even Foot Economist. Some of these guys, they're posting tweets at them saying, what do I build with this team? And they've got untradeable Lucas, untradeable Royce, Goats. Like they have this weird, like those two are linked, but they have like this weird colorful page of just random bullshit attacking cards that they've done SBCs for. And it's like, dude, you can only use so many of these guys. Even off the bench, you bring them in as super subs, you can't use them. So be careful. To end the video, let's see. So what SBC players would be good? You might be asking like, what the fuck? None of these SBCs are any good. There are some good SBC players that come along. Some examples being the Götze at the time, especially if you had a relatively cheap Bundesliga squad, or player of the month Royce. He was the best option. He was just simply the best option next to Royce. Mkhitaryan's live card. These are obviously the ones that I've done. Mkhitaryan's live card is a 5-star weak foot. Incredibly important for attackers. It's live, obviously. It's from BPL. It links to Aubameyang, who'll probably get more special cards. So the thing about that is, as Aubameyang scores and does well and wins, and Arsenal does well, hopefully that reflects what they're doing in the Europa League, and so does Mkhitaryan. Either way, though, Mkhitaryan right now, linked with even a regular Aubameyang, is a nice pairing. Other cards to look at would be any central midfielder that's live and has a chance to be in near or in the Hullet gang with all 80s or better. And I would preference that also by saying a tall guy, strong, you know, even Renato Sanchez, if that card came out as an SBC at some point for whatever reason, would be a sick one. The reason I say live is you're banking on the potential that they will eventually have all 80s and be that central defensive midfielder or central midfielder that can do everything. We're missing that from FIFA at this point in the year because they've held back a little bit with some of the cards that they've given us. For sure, they don't want to give us Bullet reskin for 300k. They don't want to give us Patrick Vieira reskin for 300k. You've got guys that are close like Fabinho and as far as Vieira, and you got guys that are close to Hullet. Like you would think that Boateng would be close, but it's just not yet. They're just not there yet. So look for cards that eventually break through those thresholds of, can he start every game and play the whole game? Yes. 90 stamina or better. Tall guy, strong, 4-star, maybe 3-star weak foot, maybe a 3-star skills if it's not important to you, but you ideally 4-star, 6 foot or taller, 80s everywhere. And the key stats, obviously, composure, agility, balance, finishing, shot power, strength, stamina. Like those are the really key ones. Cheap super subs with key stats and physical ability. So again, like if there's a SBC fullback that came out and he was 85 rated, you know, and he was just sick, medium high work rates, you could play him at CDM. He fits the central midfielder ideology of all 80s. Doesn't have incredible pace, but he's, you know, let's just say he does or doesn't, whatever, but he's all 80s in that Hullet gang. Grab him, because that's a super sub all year long, where you're not going to have to go pay 80, 90, 150k for another SBC. You've already got someone that's really good. You know, it could be that there's so many right backs in the Prem, or there's 3 or whatever, or there's so many ways to link in right backs now, or Danny Alves, everyone has him, or everyone has Cancelo's one to watch, and there's a right back Munir SBC that comes out during Footmas this week, and high work rates, of course, not the greatest, you know, weak foot, blah blah blah, but the requirements are so low and you have untradables that it's like, okay, that makes sense. And I'm gonna do videos on the foot miss SBC cards as much as I can, the ones that interest me, and I'll be streaming all the time, so you'll know. Position swap players that allow for better links in squad building. So this is another, of course, we're talking about players that the SBCs would be good. Position swap players that allow for better links. So imagine, it would be extremely expensive, but I said at the beginning of the video, imagine Bale as a left wing. You can link in now with Marcelo in the 4-5-1 formation like I have my team set up, and it doesn't matter really what you have linking him into. It could be an icon, or it could be freaking whoever. I'm pretty sure that works out fine. Or it could just be an icon. You don't have to worry about what nation they're in. I mean, or whatever configuration of a team you would like to do. A switch in position that allows for more hybrid links is always something that I would really consider doing if you're considering that player. Again, they have to meet your requirements. Bale is one of the rare ones where a weak foot that isn't that great doesn't really bother me, because he's so good in other ways, it kind of overshadows it. So the price on that would be probably 1.3 million, probably more, for an SBC of that nature where he gets a stat increase and he switched to the other side. It would be insane, but it is what it is. It'd be the same as if he went to striker, I would think, because people would figure out, oh, I can just use him with Marcelo as a left wing, left mid, whatever. So and last thing I would say for you guys is just always wait when it comes to SBCs. Always wait. If you made it this far to the video, I know it's a long one, wait for a bigger content creator to review the card. These guys, Nep, Marshall, Castro, the guys that actually get on the sticks and play with the cards for you, no matter what. Like, it could be a fucking dog shit card, it could be the worst SBC ever. This Insigne looks shitty. Like, trust me, all these guys are like, damn, do I do this SBC for 340k? Why am I doing this? But it's their job, right? They'll make the money off the video and be able to rebuy the coins, or repurchase FIFA points to rebuy the coins. Let them do the review. If there's a loan card for player of the month that comes out, if there's a loan card for any card that comes out and you're even thinking about it, do the loan card first. I know it's going to be 10k and it's going to make your SBC cost a little bit more, but trust me, you're going to hate yourself if you do these SBCs for 300, 400k. Foot miss comes around, and even if they're only 100k, however much they end up being, you're going to be pissed that you did it and you have this bullshit card that you don't like anymore. So just be wary of that. The general rule of thumb that I use is forget the packs. Will this player be as good as his price? If there was no packs, would I buy this player for what he costs to do? What Footbin says is costly, not what you think. Oh, well, he costs 340, but I have 200k in tradable, so I'm only paying 140. Don't do that. Use that mindset when there's actually a really good card. When you're skeptical, or you're hearing people say, I don't know about this, don't do it, guys. So anyways, I know this has been a super long video. We are been recording for I don't even know how long now, but I just want to thank anybody that's made it through this. I'm gonna use this as kind of like the answer to when people ask me on stream, why have you doing the SBC for Insigne? Are you doing the SBC for Cruz? Are you doing the SBC for whoever the fuck? The answer 99% of the time is no, and that's why. There was 2 cards, I believe, that I said 100% worth it for everybody, because that Dani Alves, 100% worth it, because at some point in the game, Mbappe will have a card. If he already has the cards that are top 5 in their position, but at some point in the game, at every point in the game, he will have a right mid card, right wing card, whatever, that links directly into Alves. That is meta as fuck. And so will Neymar if you play him central mid, bring him down, position change, whatever. So that's the idea. Is you want a card that's going to last you a long time, because you're not going to get your return on investment throwing him into an SBC later on. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment if you have any disagreements with what I'm saying. Again, I'm not a perfect player. I'm not a perfect evaluator of these cards in terms of what their price should be, but I do know what cards feel like in game. And I do know what the pros like to use. And you don't see pro teams, I'm not talking about the tournament when they have full teams, you don't see pro teams with a lot of SBC cards in there. And the reason why is they're shooting for something higher. and a lot of the middle tier players just settle for the bullshit cards that EA throw at us, and I kind of want to help you guys out with that. So this is a long-winded way of saying just be very careful when you're doing SBCs, especially for player-specific cards like foot swaps and all these player of the month and stuff like that. So all right guys, thanks, appreciate it.